a great improvement, Joy. Thank you very much. Motor racing, A.B.C. and Dunlop. What a story there is to tell behind the association of those three things. A story not so much of motor racing as of television advertising. I'm speaking to you today from A.B.C. studios in Teddington, where we're preparing now for the latest in the series of special Dunlop commercials. Commercials based on Dunlop's success in 1960 Grand Prix motor racing. Now, I say special because these commercials are unique. They're unique not only in the speed with which they're got on the air by A.B.C., but in the fantastic amount of preparation that goes on behind the scenes to achieve this. It's 4 minutes to 3 now. In a few moments, we'll be inviting you to come behind the scenes as we make this commercial from the European Grand Prix at Monza. But before you do that, I'd just like briefly to sketch in the background to this story. Now, it's a story which starts at the beginning of this year. Dunlop and their advertising agency, Charles F. Hyam, were planning their 1960 campaign of Grand Prix success commercials. And their plans centered around a filmed interview with the winning driver of each Grand Prix race. Now, the film of the interview, which would have been shot on the Sunday, the same day of the race, was to be flown back to England and prepared for transmission the day later. And it was at this point that A.B.C. came into the picture. And they suggested that Dunlop's real aim should not be a commercial transmitted the day after the race, but on the same day for maximum topicality and greater impact. Well, of course, it was a very exciting idea indeed, but the question was, would it work? And that was a problem that A.B.C. had to solve. Now,
here's your script, and come over on the set in a few minutes, please.
I shan't be long, thanks very much. Now, many ways of achieving this same-day commercial were considered. Flying film back and processing it more quickly for transmission the same evening, feeding pictures back over Eurovision, and so on. But for one good reason or another, all of them were abandoned, and in the end, it came down to one thing only, and that was to do it live. But the question was, how? Well, eventually, the present format was arrived at. To link the racetrack with Teddington by landline and to record over it an interview with the winning driver on sound only. At the same time, have a photographer taking stills of the race and wire them back to England. Mix the two, add a dash of commentator, that's me, and there you have it, a recipe for a same-day commercial. Live, topical, and with great impact on a public which only learned the result of the race an hour or so ago. Well, now it sounded easy. Even now it looks simple on the screen, but what a maze of technical problems there were to overcome. They're too complex to enumerate for you now, but enough to say that at this stage, just a few of them were overcome, and the idea met with Dunlop approval. So together, Hyams and A.B.C. made a 30-second pilot commercial. On the 9th of February, they presented it to Dunlop, and here it is.
And the winner was Stirling Moss. Now, here's part of a telephone conversation I had with Moss just a few hours ago.
Congratulations, Stirling. Was it a tough race? In some ways, yes. It was tough on tyres, a lot of cornering. And how did your Dunlop tyres stand up to it? They were first class, all the way through.
That's why you should have Dunlop tyres on your car. They're race-proved for top mileage and top safety.
Well, it was pretty fast, 11 camera cuts in 30 seconds, but it showed it could be done. And so impressed were Dunlop by the added immediacy that A.B.C. had given to their original idea that the decision to go live and to increase the length of the commercials to 45 seconds was taken on the spot. Well, at last, we all seemed to be getting somewhere, but after all, that was only the pilot, and a great deal of work still remained to be done. Meeting after meeting between Dunlop, Hyams and A.B.C. followed to discuss the remaining problems.
And a Porto.
And were those inherent in Grand Prix motor racing itself.
Monaco.
Could the winner speak English? Would Dunlop win? Would it be possible to get the driver to the telephone straight after the race? Above all, what would happen if there were an accident? Then the technical problems. Could we get a good enough landline to record the interview without interference? Would the wired pictures be delayed by the normal news picture traffic on the lines? And so on. One by one, they were removed. A.B.C. outside broadcast engineers made a complete survey of all the Grand Prix circuits in Europe. And at last they were satisfied that technically these commercials could be done. Standby film had to be prepared for transmission in the event of an accident on the track, which naturally Dunlop wouldn't wish to exploit. Unfortunately, one did happen in the Belgian Grand Prix, and we had to use it. Finally then, Dunlop, Hyams and A.B.C. were satisfied that everything was under control, and specific plans were made for the first commercial from the Monaco Grand Prix at Monte Carlo in May. Even so, many of us were still a little apprehensive. Even after all this planning, would it really come off? Well, it did. So successfully, in fact, that once again Dunlop decided to increase the length of their commercials, this time to 60 seconds. And after Monaco, there came the other Grand Prix races. The Dutch at Zandvoort, and the Belgian at Spa, the Le Mans 24-hour sports car race, the French Grand Prix at Reims, the British at Silverstone, the German at Nürburgring, the Portuguese at Oporto, and so, finally, to today.
Monza, 4th of September 1960, scene of the 20th European Grand Prix and of the 9th in this series of Dunlop commercials. Here at the Monza circuit, officials, drivers and mechanics are making their final preparations before the race begins. The time, 2:58. In just 2 minutes, 16 Formula 1 and 2 cars will be off on the first lap of this 6-mile circuit. In the pits, other preparations have been going on all of yesterday and today. Preparations for the Dunlop commercial. 2 minutes to go. In a room in the Dunlop pits, A.B.C.'s outside broadcast engineer, Fred Atkinson, makes a final check with Teddington and Continental trunks to see the landline is okay.
We've got to pack up this end now because we're just about ready to go.
While he speaks to Teddington, Giulio Medda, an Italian engineer, checks the reception from the Monza end. Outside the Dunlop pits, Dunlop Tyres advertising manager George Freeman and John Hamilton Dealey from Hyams are revising their scripts. Only 50 seconds to go now. Dunlop's Peter Bedlow has a final word with the photographer who'll be taking the stills of the race. Okay, John. 15 seconds and we're ready. Landline, script, pictures, everything's okay, and they're away. Lap 20, and in the pits, the first casualties are already coming in. Hello, here's Hill. What's the trouble here, I wonder? Well, it can't be tyres. There aren't any wheels coming off. Even so, tyre temperatures are quickly checked. Well, whatever it was, he's okay now.
Well, things seem to be pretty hectic in Monza, don't they? But here in Teddington, we've still got some while to go before we really get steamed up. These people over here, by the way, they're executives from A.B.C, Dunlop and Hyams, and they're here to supervise the commercial from this end. Right now, the scene hands are putting the finishing touches to the set, and the lighting crews are positioning their lights. Once they've done that, nothing will be happening here in the studio for a little while. But here in the sound control room, the engineers are beginning to line things up, ready for the big moment when the race ends and the winner comes to the mic to talk to me. Let's join them, shall we?
Hello, Monza. This is Teddington.
Hello, London. Hello, London. Hello, Teddington, London. This is Milan calling Teddington. You there, Frank?
Yes, Fred, I'm here.
Are you getting this all right?
Yes.
What's the level like?
It's pretty good, but I think we can still improve it a bit, don't you?
Would you like to hang on now? I'll adjust the mic gain for you. How's that? Bit of echo? Seems all right here. I should check it with Continental trunks, Frank.
5:20, and only a few laps to go. Phil Hill in a Formula 1 Ferrari is well in the lead. 2 minutes ahead of Richie Ginther's Ferrari, with Meres lying a lap behind in third place. Barring accident, nothing should come between Hill and the checkered flag. As he enters his last lap at 1, Dunlop's Peter Bedlow checks up on the latest position in the race. There's Hill out there in front. And the AP photographer's in the thick of it. The race is all but over, but things are really beginning to warm up now for the commercial. So let's join the Dunlop and Hyam boys in the pits, where they're talking to their colleagues at Teddington.
Did you get the tyre equipment for the second and third cars? I believe George did it for the winning car, but the second car, driven by Richie Ginther, was also on Dunlop and Dunlop disc brakes.
Thank you, Peter. If George Freeman's still there, I'd like to check over the script with him.
OK, Stuart, I'm ready to take it now.
Fine, George. I'll run through Peter West's questions and perhaps then you'll follow with Hill's answers. OK?
Right, I'll read it after you then.
Here goes.
Back on the track, everyone's looking expectantly towards the high-speed South Bend. Any moment, Phil Hill's Ferrari should appear on the top of the banking and come roaring up to the checkered flag. Yes, here he is. Car number 20 takes the flag now.
West, how about...
1 minute to go, George. Sorry, Stuart, you'll have to hurry this. There's only a few minutes to go.
Here he comes, Phil Hill, the first American to win a Grand Prix since 1921. Look at those photographers mobbing him.